want to welcome in our panel. We have David Carlucci, Democratic strategist and former New York State Senator, and Hayden Paget, chairman of the Young Republican National Federation. Welcome both, gentlemen. Glad you're here. David, why don't we start with you tonight? What are your thoughts on the apps that report on the whereabouts of ICE in a community? How do you weigh safety and free speech?
Well, first, we can't jump to conclusions. We just heard the press secretary talk about the 500% increase of attacks on ICE agents. And now we don't want to go down this rabbit hole to say that this app or this tracker is the cause. We need to think about this in terms of maybe it is something that needs to be looked at and understand. Is that something that's attributing to it? But from what I heard from the press conference, from what I've read, I'm very concerned of everyone jumping to conclusions, and particularly for taking the eye off the ball in terms of what is causing this uptick of violence. And I think a lot of it has to do with the lack of communication between the White House and local jurisdictions and governors. If we work together and allocate these resources appropriately, I think a lot of this could be mitigated. But could this be something that we need to look at? Yes. But is it the smoking gun? I don't think so. And the evidence doesn't point to that yet.
Hayden, what are your thoughts on these apps?
The only thing I agree with from my colleague here is that this is not the only cause of the uptick in violence. This was clearly not the reason that Charlie Kirk was shot and other violence has occurred in this country. But it certainly is a clear root cause of the shooting in Dallas. I'm very close to there. It's my backyard. It's personal for me that happened here. And so I don't view this as a free speech thing. This is a app that's clearly intended to either harass ICE agents at least, or at most do them harm. And these apps have an nefarious purpose and need to be looked at more carefully. We also, the problem is not that the White House is not communicating with state or local jurisdictions. The problem is people are trying to prevent the enforcement of our laws. As you're seeing on the screen right now in Portland, that has to end, and we have to get back to having regular law and order in this country.
I mean, David, let's talk about what's happening in Portland right now. This is a live look on the screen. It's been mostly peaceful. A Defense Department memo saying that 200 National Guard troops will be sent statewide there. The state of Oregon already suing the Trump administration to try to stop this from happening. Do you see justification for these troops coming in? Why do you think they're being sent in?
Well, of course, I'm not in Portland, and I'm reading reports. I'm watching TV, and it looks like no, it doesn't warrant this use of force. And this is the problem, that Portland, if there are problems, it's not going to be fixed by 200 National Guard troops. What's going to fix it is, again, working with the local residents in the community to try to fix these problems. And from what we've heard, we don't see these problems. So again, this is diverting resources where we know it could be used in parts of this country that really need it. And we know this moving our National Guard men and women around is costing an awful lot of money. We've heard about these reports, $1 million a day in some cities. And so that money could be used for a long-term gain, and not just, a flash gun and a show of force, but to actually do something to improve these communities. The mayor, the governor in Oregon is saying, no, we don't need this, and this is what's causing the problems and making people feel unsafe.
Hayden, will sending in these troops create a more hostile environment for both ICE officers and protesters?
I think it will certainly antagonize some of the protesters, if we can call them those, who are at the facility right now. But what we've seen back in 2020 in Portland itself, and then later in LA just this year, local governments are not capable of ensuring order and the protection of our federal agents who are doing their jobs and enforcing our laws. So I actually am glad that the White House and the administration is stepping in with a preemptive move to put a show of force there to ensure no violence does occur. This does not escalate from protests into actual rioting, as we've seen time and again in Portland in particular.
Hayden Paget, David Carlucci, appreciate you both joining us tonight. Thank you.
Good to be with you.